Hello everyone, welcome to Reading with Reference Day. My name is Kim Christopher. I'm a reference librarian with the Haverford Township Free Library, and today, per as usual, if you are familiar with any of our other reference videos, I'm here to share some reading recommendations. So, I have here Folklords by Matt Smith, Matt Kint, and Chris O'Halloran. I hope I'm getting the name right there, but yeah, so this is something that was added to our library's collections recently, and after having read it, yeah, I was blown away just with how fun and exciting of a fantasy read this is. But it's not your very typical fantasy read, which is what makes it a fascinating sort of spin on the genre, where most fantasy stories, they might begin with a line of "Once upon a time" or some other epic line, and typical sort of quest to save the world or save the princess, something along those lines. But again, not very typical, which makes it a great read because of the character of Ansel, who always dresses in a clean suit and tie, has bizarre ideas about the world, creates strange contraptions, and everyone ridicules him for it. He's the oddball, doesn't conform to standards. But Ansel, he doesn't care. All he cares about is the quest. This yearly event where the youths of his village declare what they're going to do with their lives. In this case, embark on a quest to do some grand heroic deed or the like. And for Ansel, his quest, he declares, is to find the reclusive and all-powerful Folklords. But as he finds on the day of the quest, it is forbidden by law to search for the Folklords or even ask any questions about them, he finds. And, well, that doesn't deter Ansel from his quest, as the reason he is considered at least an oddball in the eyes of people is that he has visions and dreams of another world. Our world, in this case. And so he wants to find the Folklords who he believes can answer the questions he has about if he's, mad, hallucinating these things, or if he is actually having a glimpse into our world. And so he embarks on a forbidden quest to find the Folklords, encountering all sorts of dangers that exist outside of the borders of his village, finding all sorts of and solving the mysteries of his world, but also placing himself in grave danger as the librarians, the shady characters in the red robes there, they are the custodians of this fantasy world, and they will do anything within their power to prevent Ansel and anyone else from finding out the secrets of the Folklords and this fantasy world, even killing. And so yeah, the story, so many elements to this make it a great read. Even just the artwork here, this beautiful artwork they have for the cover here, they include this throughout the series too. Great artwork, story, strong characters, and the authors, they inject it with so much humor, action, suspense, even some horror elements that all feel like things you would find in a great Hollywood blockbuster, but they do it even better. And so those elements and much, much more that I can't talk about in this time I have here make it a great read. But I would also say and recommend it as a read if you're a fan of searching for those Easter eggs, because they don't outright, sort of point out those little references to pop culture or things in our literature, as this is based on a lot of the fairy tales that we grew up with as children, but they do include those small hints and even outright big references to things like the inclusion of Hansel and Gretel in the story, quite literally, that sort of hint at the possible future storylines that could be told, even grander, greater, epic stories that Ansel and his friends can get involved in. And so, yeah, these elements, and like I said, much, much more, make it an absolutely wonderful read. And so, yeah, I highly recommend Folklords as a fantasy and graphic novel read. And for me personally, I want to keep reading the series just to find out what is up with those librarians, being a librarian myself. But yeah, Folklords. And last here, I have The Tiger's Daughter by K. Arsenal Rivera. I apologize if I'm getting names wrong here. Pronunciation. But yeah, I just picked this book up because of the artwork on the cover. And, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but the beautiful artwork here, it just really reflects how gorgeous and detailed of a story Rivera tells here, where it's set in this fantasy world pretty similar to our own, just several 100,000 years in the past, where the great Hokaran Empire has conquered the entire world, or their world at least, and after many centuries of an ironclad rule, they've grown very corrupt, lazy, and complacent, which as a result has led to a great and somewhat forgotten evil rising up from the shadows to attack the Empire. And in this case, it is demons. And demons, they're not just a story you would tell your child as a bedtime story or to keep them in line, per se. They actually exist in the Hokaran Empire. Sort of common occurrence that everybody takes as an accepted thing in life. But unfortunately, due to the Empire's lazy incompetence, the demons have begun amassing their forces beyond the borders and are getting ready for perhaps an all-out invasion of the Empire. And the only two individuals who acknowledge it as a threat are the young warrior empress Oshizuka and her companion and lover Shefali, the daughter of a, shall we say, nomadic, if you want to visualize, Mongol warrior tribe. And so yeah, they embark on that epic quest to stop the demonic threat and save the Empire from ruin. And yeah, that sounds like a very typical sort of fantasy storyline, I'll admit, but what makes it a really wonderful, great read is that Rivera, taking influences from our history, folklore, society, and everything, it is very easy for you as the reader to visualize what this fantasy world looks like. She does put detail and attention into describing things, but as a result of the influences she takes from our world and real life, you can picture what the people look like, the clothes they wear, the buildings they live in, the landscapes, even the food they eat. It's all very easy for you to just see in your mind's eye what this world is like. And as a result, you're able to pay attention more so to the story rather than being presented with this high concept fantasy story where you're confused at every single turn as to what the author's trying to describe, going back to dialogue, characters, back and forth. And personally for me, that can be confusing, and I've sometimes stopped reading a book because it was just confusing just because of all those elements. But yeah, Rivera, she does an excellent job just describing this world and focusing on the story. It's just a beautiful story. Again, I can't say too much without spoiling anything in this video, but I will say as finishing up here as a recommendation for a reading, just that if you are looking for a story with some strong female lead characters, these two, Oshizuka and Shefali, they're the kind of characters that you cheer for, you root for them, you feel the hardships they feel, you relate to them. That great, strong female character leads, and they just sort of defy the genre, the stereotypical sort of character, female lead characters that you might have in mind in general, sort of, I guess, damsel in distress, yeah, but yeah, great, strong female leads, storytelling. Again, I can't say too much without spoiling too much about the story in this video, but yeah, I highly recommend Tiger's Daughter as a fantasy read. And, well, that is everything I can say about these recommendations for today, at least. And until we see each other again next week, please know that the library is open. You can come in and browse the collections again. The hours are slightly different, where it is Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 8, Thursday, 10 to 6, and Friday, Saturday, 10 to 5. Regular requests are also up and running, so you can request items from other libraries, come and get them, like I said, and browse the collections once more. And we are still doing our contactless pickup requests, so you can request that online at haverfordlibrary.org, or you can call us and request them, and again, pick them up in the library, or request to have them picked up outside in the parking lot when you arrive. And until we see each other again next week, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day, and take care.